Hey there, ISin. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
Of course, and thank you for coming on here and sharing, your life story. I think it's a very interesting one. So, could you just tell me a little about introduce yourself to the listeners, just talk about where you live and a little bit about you?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, you hit me up with the. I'm gonna show my age real quick here. You
Right.
hit me up with the ASL.
Yep, that's just the
Yo, if you gotta
throwback.
be old to know the AOL aim chat.
I
Yeah,
know.
random strangers with the ASL. Age, sex, location. What
Yep.
do you call it? So I'm 34.
Hmm.
What do you call it? I'm from Connecticut.
Okay.
I am a male. What do
So
you
you
call it?
identify as a male.
I identify as a straight white male.
Okay.
But so what do I know? But hey, I'm here.
Okay, so yeah, no, it's good to catch up and to do it recording to catch up. But could you just tell the listeners about your current relationship dynamics?
Yeah. Well, again, so I'm ISin. What do you call it? I actually have a podcast myself with
Okay.
also one of my partners and one of our friends.
Oh, nice.
What do you call it? It's Nerd versus Universe.
And I will put that name down in the description box so
What do
people
you
can
call it?
check it
And I'm
out.
also a Renaissance sword fighter with the Knights of Gore.
Nice,
What do you call
nice.
it? So yeah, we travel around Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and I beat up my friends with swords.
Okay.
But I know we're going to get into it later. But yeah, it's the Ren Fair is known for its promiscuity and very accepting community and odd sexual ways. I love it.
And we will definitely talk about that.
What do you call it? But I am in a open poly relationship with my
Okay.
girlfriend and her husband,
Could you talk more
Freya
about
and
the
Orzi.
dynamics?
What's that? The
Could you
name? The
talk
name
more
of the
about the
club?
dynamics? Like, how does that
Yeah,
work?
yeah. Like I said, we're poly and open. But my girlfriend Freya is bi.
Hmm.
Uh, us men, we're not. We're not into that, right?
So you're 100% straight, and the other man involved is also
As far as I know, yeah, absolutely, yep.
so by open. They're both married, and
Yep.
you okay?
And what do you call it? They date as they freely for the most part. Me and Freya started seeing each other for sex in an open style. I don't know, about a year and a half ago, which later turned into feelings and such.
Okay.
Um, which I've never been open like poly lifestyle was never really for me. I was always considered myself a very monogamous person.
Mm.
It's very counter to my natural way at first. But this is not my first actually poly relationship. I've been like they seem to find me, um, and we have a beautiful saying where it's like you could love somebody, right? But that doesn't take your love away from anyone else. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yes.
Like a mother has many children. You have new children doesn't mean you love your other child less. You know what I mean?
Right. So and it's interesting because you said at first it sounded like almost a casual sexual thing.
Very, very.
Interesting. And going into it, did she tell you was she upfront the fact that she's married and she's
Oh yes, absolutely. A friend who was also involved in more of an open kind of free lifestyle invited me out one night. They were both there, so
okay?
it was great to see him again. I haven't seen him in a long time. I actually met them through an ex-girlfriend of mine. Lost them in divorce, and then reconnected with them later.
Okay. And at that time, when you met the couple originally through your ex,
Yeah.
you weren't involved with them in any
No,
capacity
no. In
sexually.
fact, they were, I guess, open at the time. I had no idea.
Okay, okay. And it's interesting because you said you considered yourself to be a monogamous person.
Yeah,
What
very much.
about this couple, this dynamic made you a little bit more open-minded?
The way I was going into it, in the way I always kind of go into it, is I'm gonna catch feels.
Oh,
I know it, and it's
okay,
okay, right? If
okay.
I'm having sex for a long period of time, I'm probably catching feels. Um, but I was okay with that. So just before I met Freya, actually my girlfriend at the time had just passed away. She had cancer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
so sorry to hear that.
yeah. It was rough and all, but what a nice little blessing afterwards.
And how did this all
About a year.
start?
But
Yeah, the first time, how did it start?
well, okay. So when we went out to the bar that time, I was talking to her. She was telling me about their situation.
Okay.
And I was like, oh wow. And she used to be a very big woman,
Okay.
300 pounds or so. Now she's 140. You know
Yeah,
what I
that's
mean? 'Cause you know
impressive.
what I mean? She looks amazing. She's
Yeah.
telling me all this stuff. She's rubbing my beard. I'm like, yeah, I'm in. Okay, sounds great. That's exactly what pick me up I would need after, the heartbreak I had. I wasn't looking for anything serious at the time, so this is perfect. You know what I mean? Because I was coming off a heartbreak,
Right.
right? Um,
Do you think the grief played a part in your decision of that night?
no.
Okay.
I mean, we've been friends for a bit,
Okay. You met at the bar, you connected, you slept
Mm-hmm.
together.
Oh, but it's so here's an interesting bit too.
Hmm.
Um, so she's in an open relationship, but she's not very sexually experienced,
Interesting.
right? Um, in a different sense. So like our first time, it was a big deal when I wanted to have the light on,
Okay.
right? But she also comes from a place of being very self-conscious too. You know what I mean?
Right, because of the
She's
weight
a pretty big
loss.
girl, right? She's actually been battling with that. And she's doing great,
Okay, no, that's
right?
great. So what made her go, I mean, to your knowledge, what
Mm.
made her kind of explore this lifestyle? Does she consider herself to just be polyamorous?
Uh-huh. We almost look at ourselves as aristocrats. We're above some bullshit. If we want to sleep with someone, we can sleep with whoever we want. My buddy was telling his friend about me the first time I met him,
Right.
and he was bragging about my situation because he loves it for some reason. I think he's jealous. What do you call it? But he was saying, "Oh yeah, Jada Pinkett and Will Smith, or
Yeah.
Beyonce and Jay-Z." It's like, yeah, like that. You know what I mean?
I think Beyonce was pissed. I don't think they had an open relationship.
I didn't follow any of that
Yeah.
drama. I thought the Jada Pinkett stuff was like years ago. I guess it was only a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
don't understand. And we get the worst misunderstandings from people we just would not expect it from.
Okay, interesting.
Usually.
So are you open about this relationship to your family, to your friends?
Uh, I am.
Okay.
Yes, I'm very open about this. 100%.
And is she open
She
about
has. She has. Her parents hate the idea. She hates me. Her parents used to love me until they found out who I was, and
right.
what do you call it? And then they don't like me. They're
Right, because they obviously accept her
Christian
husband.
conservative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure you're not the first person that she brought into the bedroom. So
Nope.
what do you think? Has she ever, because it almost sounds like at first it was an open, casual thing, and now you're pretty much like in a relationship with her.
Yes, and now we're in a poly relationship. Yeah, we're all in a relationship together, kind of.
Okay. And do you consider yourself also in a relationship with her husband?
Oh, absolutely, he's a huge part of it.
Okay,
But he's more
interesting.
like a best friend or a
Okay.
brother kind of thing
Okay.
to me.
Because you
And,
don't, and can you describe a typical bedroom scene?
yeah, no. So we don't want to hear anything about what we do with each other or anything that goes on. We have separate nights.
Okay. Okay.
We don't sleep all in the same bed.
Okay.
What do you call it? Freya comes down on her nights and stuff, sleeps with me, and goes up, sleeps with Lord Zoo on other nights.
Okay. So it's separate.
Yeah, we
And
can
you have to
keep it. We
schedule.
can keep it separate. Yeah.
Okay. And does he date other women?
Yes, he does.
Okay. So does Freya date anybody else other than you and her husband?
What do you call it? Date? No. Has slept with others? Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And is she open about it? Does she tell both of you guys?
Oh
Like,
yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm open about everything.
okay. So
Absolutely.
you,
Communications is the only way this thing works.
okay. Okay.
Right.
And how do you deal with like jealousy, just natural human tendencies?
Yeah, I was real worried about it. Maybe just knowing because she was married at the beginning. I don't get jealous with Lord Zoo, but um, I could get sometimes a little jealous just the way I am when she sleeps with a stranger. But that's just me. I don't really mind. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I don't
And
like thinking about it, but I don't mind.
okay. So it's almost like you kind of detach from it in a way
But I
on time.
accept it. It doesn't really bother me. I don't want to linger on it or anything like that.
Okay, fair enough. I think that's a big feeling that a lot of people have, jealousy in general. So I'm just
Yeah. That's the reason why I thought I could never do something like this.
okay. And do you ever compare yourself to her husband? Just get competitive?
No, we don't get really competitive at all. Um, it's actually funny. It reminds me of a matriarchal tribe that takes many husbands.
Okay.
Somewhere around Papua New Guinea, somewhere around the those Pacific Islands. But they ask kind of like that same question, and like, do the husbands get along, everything like that. And they all say for the most part, as long as you're not drinking too much or anything like that, they're good.
Okay.
But yeah,
And
we don't compete really. We have different kind of roles almost.
okay. And he doesn't participate in any capacity. He doesn't like watch you guys have sex. He doesn't.
Nope.
Okay. So it's very separate.
No, and it's not. So we were talking about the Renaissance fair before. I know one of the Renaissance fairs in Connecticut is run by a guy who's in a let's see, a poly marriage. Um, Same situation, two men and a woman.
Hmm.
I do think all three of them are bi, though.
Okay.
He's great. Um, and then I know there's another couple who girl loves me and has been trying to get with me and would send me some dirty videos and pictures and such. And her husband would be the one helping her film and do all this kind
Interesting.
of stuff, right?
He's directing it, and
Kind of, yeah.
you think he gets off on the fact
Oh,
he's trying to
yeah.
seduce you?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
That's the
Interesting.
weirdest bit of it.
Okay. I believe that's called cucking, right? Where
So yeah, well, I
yeah.
didn't know what hot wifing was. So
I give
that's
you
why
the terms beforehand.
you gave me chance beforehand to do some research on.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean,
uh,
I'm learning about it too. I saw that. So hot wifing is, I think, yeah, it's like that dynamic
so
where the
I believe either cucking is when you don't know or you pretend not to know, or you either like to watch, I believe. I believe hot wifing is like when you get your wife ready to do it. So the guy filming, I believe, and like getting his wife ready, getting off on it, that he would be hot wifing, I believe.
okay, yeah, the other couple that you were mentioning, there's a
Right.
hot
The
wife.
other couple, right.
Okay, and
We
so
are neither of that.
okay, so and that's interesting that you brought that up. So are you currently dating or sleeping with other people other than this couple?
We have some talks of threesomes in the works, but not no, not particularly.
Okay, so you're not seeking, your own another girlfriend or another person.
I'm fucking uh at a minimum usually of three times a night when I do, so I'm pretty damn satisfied.
Okay. So
You know
for
what I mean?
you, it's a satisfaction thing. You feel like Freya's
Oh, I'm
fulfilled all
good.
your needs.
Yeah, she's her sex drive is definitely, and as most girls and women I've met, I've just have a sex drive that's way higher than any men I've met.
Okay.
Actually, yeah,
Okay.
the stereotypical. Oh yeah, guy's always horny and what do you call it? I know almost every girl I know just runs circles around guys. You know what I mean? Sex wise. So it's
And I
like,
wonder why that is. I think it's like a hormone thing, or I think also women get more comfortable with their bodies when they get older too.
oof, there's a lot of things. I don't know. A lot of things go
Yeah.
into it. There's a lot of maturity about this whole thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I've noticed my sex drive has gone up when I'm, getting older. It's just, I think you're just more
That's what they.
comfortable, especially too, when men are done, and they orgasm and they're like kind of finished, especially if it's like a deep orgasm and they just like want to pass out or they can't like get aroused again and a woman could go again.
That's kind of what I'm going for, talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah. What do you call it? So it's almost. I don't want to speak for women, but I've heard this from multiple women with um, having very bad experiences with one night stand kind of things.
Right.
Where, the guy doesn't give a shit about you. He's not there to get you off, and then he's just plugged and done, right?
Like a
And
selfish lover.
like selfish lover kind of thing, right?
Right.
I've heard a lot of stories of people being very unsatisfied with some of those experiences.
Unfortunately, too, I think even in relationships, so you can have a selfish lover when it's not a one night stand,
Absolutely.
but somebody's just all about their needs.
Mm. Well, I mean, a selfish lover or just things they don't want to do or boundaries they don't want to push, but other people need. Um,
What do you think
uh,
makes somebody a good lover
ooh.
or good?
Yeah. So communication, man. That's fucking everything. I mean, beyond just in life, but also sex. If you ever want something, you gotta ask for it, no matter what, no matter where you are. You want a cupcake, or if you want sex, just ask,
You
right?
have to talk about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Communication, consent. Obviously, that shouldn't even be a thing. But definitely don't make people feel weird about the things they do talk to you about.
Okay. So
But
just be open minded. So open minded
as for
aspect.
I don't know, a female lover, I do like. I'm dominant, but I like a girl that still have some initiative to them, like to do something.
By
Uh,
dominant, do you mean just like BDSM dominant
yeah,
or
yeah,
okay,
very much so.
okay.
Yeah, Freya's probably switch, meaning she'll go either submissive or dominant depending on her situation. But I'm always dominant. So, but I hate. You ever heard the term starfishing?
Right, right.
Yeah, I can't stand a starfish.
Okay, so somebody who's just like not engaged and
Just not moving, right?
right. I
Stop. Oh
wouldn't
my
even think
god,
that
I love
person's
noise.
submissive. I think
I
they'd be
love I it just the
because
difference
submissive people
between
could be
being
like
submissive.
involved.
Yeah, exactly. That's there's a difference. There is.
Yeah.
Um, and then a girl's noise. I love the sound of a woman like being pleasured.
Okay.
Like the sound of pleasure in a woman. Oh my god,
So that gets you
that's
you
one.
get off.
That's one of my things. Yeah.
Okay.
So one of Freya's things was I believe when I met her, she hadn't been eaten out in 10 years or something like that.
Hmm.
So I'm like,
Interesting.
right?
So her
And
husband doesn't go down on her.
I guess not. He's Spanish though, so it's a real machismo thing. I think I've heard in the
Huh.
culture. I don't
Interesting.
know.
Okay.
But that's one of his things. So
Do you
okay.
think that's one of the reasons why they open up their relationship?
I, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe.
Because like if he was doing fulfilling all her sexual needs and fantasies, like would there be a need for another person or they just get off like the idea of just a separate person is the thing that makes
I
her
don't know. Because here's the thing about me that so one of my things, because one of the things you sent before was I believe kinks or something like that or
right.
fantasy and stuff. And the problem with me was, and it's a problem with long-term relationships, is I like variety. I like
Okay.
things that change. My tastes change. You know what I mean? My friends were kind of jealous before because, you know, they're both fucking around or trying to fuck around on their girls on the side, right? And they're telling me how they're uninstalling apps, when they're not at the house or their girl can't see and they want to talk to their side girl or the girl they're trying to get with. They'll install the app to talk to them and stuff.
Because they're wired for variety.
Well, they want to, obviously they got some kind of need, right? And
Yeah.
I've always had that too when I was locked down, right? That need of missing out, or just sometimes when I see a beautiful girl, I get like there's nothing better. I can't control myself. Like,
Okay. But
you know what I
but it's
mean? Like,
interesting. But since you have been with Freya, even though you have this need for variety,
mm,
you haven't went out and had sex with anybody else.
true, but that's probably more of COVID than anything else.
Okay, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
right.
so it's like if you could, you would definitely.
Yeah, like I said, like
Okay.
we have threesomes in the work and stuff. It's
What do you mean by in the works? Like you're planning it?
well, we're talking about it, with people. You know what I mean? So it's not just like a random thing. Communication.
Okay, so another woman would join or another man would join.
Well, I'm not bi, so
Well, no, you don't have to do things
I
with a
know,
guy.
and I'm dominant and jealous. So yeah, no, man, not gonna work for me.
Okay, okay. So
Right? So
you
I have
want
to be
another
alone.
woman. So you would be fine with her bringing another woman in.
Yeah, with me.
Okay.
She's slept with a woman not too long ago.
Okay. So no, so that wouldn't make you jealous, just to clarify.
No, it does not.
Okay. Has she ever been in a relationship with another woman or she just has sex with?
Relationships, no,
Okay. Okay.
no, no.
So
She's
she
still.
predominantly has men.
That was only her first actual full woman experience. Was
Okay. That's fascinating. And I
yeah.
wonder when she was figuring all this out, was it
You gotta have her on. Yeah, no, she was
yeah.
super angry and she couldn't figure out why until she figured it out for herself. Like,
Okay.
oh my god, I'm bi,
Okay.
and like her anger just dissipated.
She
You
like
know what I mean?
accepted her
Yeah,
sexuality.
yeah, yeah. And like it was fermenting as anger. It was interesting.
Oh, I think, yeah, that's interesting. So she felt like she couldn't get that experience. She was married and she wanted to explore that side.
Well, not even really. I maybe she did, maybe. But I definitely felt bad when I found out about that one bit. So I was like, I'll take care of that for you, because it's a
Right.
particularly since I
The oral
like, yeah, since I like the sound of a pleasured woman.
right.
Right? I love it. So.
So you get off by giving a woman like
Oh
performing
yeah,
oral
yeah. Oh, I
sex on
love
a
going down
woman.
on a girl.
Okay.
Ah,
Okay.
well, I just love a pleasure in a girl. So
Right. And that's part of it. It's like the
that's part of it.
sensuality. Okay. Awesome. And do you ever like talk about her sex with her husband? Like the type of sex that they go through? Does she confide in you?
No, no. Again, keep it all just between
Okay.
me and her, and he keeps between him and her.
Okay. So if there was any sexual problems, do you confide in the other partner? You know, like suppose you and Freya were having a sexual issue.
We could, I'm
Okay.
sure.
Just to get another
Our
perspective.
communication's on that level where we could, I'm sure.
Okay.
But
And you're saying that he's like your best friend. Could you expand on that? Like in what ways?
well, to be fair, I don't have a lot of good male friends left.
Mhm.
But I mean, yeah, he was a friend before, before hooking me up, right? In a way.
Yeah.
And it's just been really great, actually.
Okay.
It's like he's like the brother, the cousin, I had or lost. So we play games. While I'm editing, he's doing his IT work. He owns a thing. So
Okay, so he has a company, and for him, he hasn't reached the point where he's developed a girlfriend to bring in.
well, we do have someone else living in the house, but I don't know their full details. Again, I don't ask.
Okay, so you all live together.
Well, there's actually 4 of us in the house, but I don't think one's not like us. Just someone else living in the house.
Just a friend.
I think. I don't know if her and Zoo ever did a thing or not. You know what I mean?
Okay, interesting.
Again, I don't ask.
Okay, so that's an interesting aspect because you're open and you're free, but you still you don't really know the details and particulars of their relationship. So it's like intimacy.
We're not perfect too with our communication between all 3 of us. We're still working on it. You know what I mean? It's still a very new thing for all of us, but we've never been happier.
Okay.
In fact, we both said it's weird. We had to say it's okay. Like people had to tell us it's okay to be happy because we're not used to it.
So how do you deal with, because I think a lot of polyamorous relationships, they have their own dynamic.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone's different.
Right. Some places, in some relationships, you're not allowed to have multiple actual loving relationships. It's just you're open as in you can have sex with other people, but, keep it just
right, which is my understanding how things kind of were originally with them. But I brought a lot of benefit and changed minds.
Right.
You know what I
Not
mean?
just the clit licking. It's also the emotional. It's the emotional.
There's a lot of things, and that's one of the things that makes sex good too. It's another reason why just random sex kind of sucks sometimes. Is you don't know the person, you don't get the intimacy too as well. Which,
of course, and I think that when you're having consistent sex with another person and you generally enjoy each other companies, I think there is going to be some emotional connection that's going to be built. I mean, think.
Right? Oxytocin release, it's kind of hard not to.
Right, especially if it's consistent.
Especially if you keep it consistent. But that's a tip for any relationship, man. If you're not having sex, man, your relationships will fall apart. It will.
Okay.
It's happened to every relationship where my sex has stopped in a relationship.
So the sex aspect is very important to keep a healthy
in a relationship. It seems so. In my 34 years of studying the subject.
You've been having sex ever since you were born.
Absolutely. I came out of a vagina.
Right. It started then. And so do you guys have any rules where any things are off limits going to
again, we don't really talk about each other kind of the details of each other's experiences so much other than that, but
what about yours and Freya's relationship?
In that kind of way, especially in the bedroom, there's no boundary we haven't really hit yet.
Okay.
Anything that would be off limits is stuff I don't want to do anyway.
Like what? So, what are the things that
I could only imagine some weird German pissing and shit and stuff.
Okay, so no bodily.
already a lot of weird stuff, so to go any further,
it's so no bodily fluids. Do you guys use sex toys? Is that?
Yes, we do. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not intimidated to have so I think it's fun.
Okay, so
what are the different? Ready for another round,
what are the different sex toys?
Get your girl off, guys.
So what are the different sex toys that you've used?
So she just got her one little toy. It's nothing major or anything like that. It's
a vibrator.
The vibrator, but you could insert as well, right? So you could either rest one end with an air blowing unit on the clit with the vibration. You guys got amazing shit.
Yes.
I don't even know why you guys talk to men if it wasn't for the other stuff. But
Yeah, the intimacy
right,
aspect, right?
yeah, right, all that other aspects that you can't do with a toy. But like those things are goddamn amazing. What they could do.
You think like in 20 years men will be considered obsolete because the toy will be able to replicate
I'm
all the
worried about. Well, I'm more worried about sex dolls and men. You know what I mean? Incels becoming like these robot sex slave things or something. I don't know.
okay.
Like being slaves to dolls. You know, I see it
Incels
getting worse.
are, I think incels, like I haven't talked to an incel. That'd be an interesting episode, but I believe
Let's sort of talk about then, right?
I mean, their
Like, why
ideology,
don't you have sex?
no, their ideology is that they want to have sex, but they feel like, they
And they're
can't,
mad at everyone who does.
right? And yeah, they just feel like they don't get they're not having sex and they're upset about it. And so they decide to like shun.
I'll tell you what the problem or what their problem is right now. Everyone knows, but they're very negative people.
They're
Okay?
just more positive.
If they're just a little more positive and spend a little time working on themselves, I bet they
Right.
could do it. Because
Well,
if what people don't know about me often is I was a terribly shy, bullied child, right? Even my mother told me how I couldn't be a lawyer when I was a kid because I was too shy. You know what I mean? But now public speaking is like nothing for me.
and now here you are talking about your sex life openly.
Yeah,
So
I got 16,000 followers on Twitter. I got
yeah,
two
that's awesome.
YouTube channels. They're not as successful, but I don't talk about Star Wars. My Twitter's mostly about Star Wars.
Okay. No, that's great. So do you think like the sexual confidence came from, developing public speaking skills, being more comfortable with yourself?
Well, that's why I developed all those communication skills,
Okay,
right?
to talk to the ladies.
Yes, yes.
Well, you're a
Also,
good
also, I've been in many relationships. Like for a while, it was like every 2 years. Like they used to last 2 years, like on the dot, up until maybe 3, 4 years ago, where it's like you got 3 months or I'm out kind of thing.
Do you think
But
Freya's the one?
yeah, no, the plan is for me to stay. So
Interesting.
yeah, it's not my first poly relationship, or at least open relationship.
Okay, interesting. So how did that end, that previous poly relationship?
The best way of any relationship in my life, the most amicable, we're both done, see you later kind of thing. No real animosity that, at least on my end. I don't know how she feels,
Okay.
um, but we just kind of, fell off of each other in a way. Um, and I learned a couple lessons too. Like, so I've been learning this whole time about communicating and just how people are, women are, and relationships and all that kind of stuff. I found psychology fascinating anyway in the first place, and I always wanted to get laid. So put those two motives together, and I got pretty good with my lips.
Okay, that's good. So would you consider yourself to be polyamorous, or do you consider yourself monogamous that's just in a polyamorous relationship?
No, I would consider myself in a polyamorous relationship.
Okay. Would you
Absolutely.
label yourself as polyamorous?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Though it's
Interesting.
not, again, every three-way couple like this is going to be different, but it's interesting.
Um, and how do you find, these like these women in this scenario to have the threesome with?
Oh, it could be, I don't know, anywhere, right? So
Like
all around
friends or through apps?
friends, apps. Right now, I believe one girl I'm talking to is someone I used to work with. She recently started a fans only. What do you call it?
OnlyFans?
OnlyFans, whatever.
Yeah.
You know the thing. But what do you call it? So she started that, and then through that we started a conversation through that. What do you call it? She's interested in the idea. So is Freya. So talking further about it there.
Okay.
Other things have come up before, but never quite panned out. But you know.
Okay. So it's not like, what's the most number of people that you had sex with at a time? Was it just,
All right. So I usually include a blowjob being sex.
right? I would consider
So
oral sex sex.
all right. So then 4 people.
Oh, really? Can you explain the scene?
Yes, this
Okay.
is this leads into a lot of the questions you asked me. Um, okay, so here's the scene. It's my one of my best friends at the time, bachelor's party,
Mm-hmm.
and he legit brings like they have 4 prostitutes and a pimp,
Oh.
or maybe yeah, gangster guy, dude. He's hilarious the way this guy looks. He's got this crazy like rimmed hat and a trench coat. Love it. So it was around the end of the night, and I had a fedora on at the time. I don't know if they were drunk. The one kept saying I look like Justin Timberlake. I kept saying, sure, okay.
I'll go
I
with
learned
that.
that in college. If a girl says I look like somebody, tell them yes and live it up, because that gets you places. Trust
Keep
me.
that tip noted,
That is
listeners.
a tip, yo. What do you call it? Yeah, I apparently look like a tennis player in college to somebody.
Okay.
But it was around the end of the night. I don't know what the motivation was. She kept saying I look like Justin Timberlake. She dragged me
Mm-hmm.
into the bathroom where they were doing just customer service kind of jobs, right? But I told her I didn't have any money.
Okay.
She said it was okay. She don't care.
Oh, wow. She was just like really turned on by you.
It gets weirder
Yeah.
and like not worse, better. I don't know, just weirder, really.
Yeah.
So she drags me into the bathroom. I get propped up on the sink and pulls off my pants and
So
starts.
she's like the aggressor here. She like wants.
Yeah, this is all her idea. I'm
Okay.
like, I told her I have no money,
Okay.
right? Right? She
Yeah.
said it's okay, it's on me. But then her friend joins her,
Oh.
and then another one of her friends, um, starts eating out those 2, right? And this is all in the public bathroom. There are people in the bathroom. There's people watching from outside the bathroom.
Was the door open? Is that
Oh yeah. There
okay?
actually wasn't a door.
So
What do you
people
call
were
it? It was a
watching.
party hall for a bachelor party, so it was kind of open. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
wow. So people are watching this all go
Literally
down.
staring into the bathroom, like yeah,
Yeah.
watching this shit go down. Most of them couldn't see me until like I finished up, because like the way it was stalls and then the sink, and I was propped up, so you just saw the girls playing with each other in the corner there, and someone
Okay.
I was getting work done. But that was weird. For some reason, that fedora fucking worked, man. And I never wore a fedora since. I disavowed them, but
But
oddly enough, it worked. You think I'd be wearing it every day, right?
yeah, tell the pickup artists that
Yeah, right.
fedoras, ladies love
That's
fedoras.
what it reminds me of. That's gross.
That's so funny. So, and then what was the scene? So the girls were like going down on each other. They were having sex with each other, and then you ended up having sex with the
No,
original.
what do you call it?
Were
So
you
what? The 2 girls were blowing me on the sink, and
at the
the
same time?
at the same time while the friend was eating her friends out. So little train thing going on,
That's a
rising
lot of
up.
yeah.
It was interesting. It was a lot of fun, highly unexpected. Um, so weird afterwards. I
Hmm.
felt oddly guilty, and like I felt like I had to pay her, and I had $40 on me and shit. So I was like, do I have money? I'm like, but I like I blew my mind in more than one way. So I like literally couldn't find my money for like a good 2 minutes. I'm like, oh, here you go. Thank you. I'm sorry I wasn't more. Right. I know you said it was fine, but here, take that anyway. It was too, like, as I was leaving it, I got congratulated in the weirdest way by the other dudes. It's like, oh man, you're a nasty motherfucker. Yeah, go, dude, go. I'm like, thanks, man. Thanks.
It
I'm like,
sounds
what the
like
fuck
every
did I
guy's
just
fantasy.
do? What happened? Like, I'm kind of lost still. But yeah, that's one of
How
the
many
weird
times did you
things.
come in that scenario?
Just the once.
Okay.
But so that was actually back. So I had the longest. It was the longest time before I had a woman be able to make me come during a blowjob. Actually, I told that to her. I'm sorry, but I never came during a blowjob. I bet you can't. I'm sorry. All that kind of stuff. I was wrong. And I had met someone recently after that too, who her thing was this blowjobs and anal was submissive beyond a T. Is this girl, and she was only 90 pounds.
Oh wow.
I dated her for a little bit, obviously.
Okay,
I had to
interesting.
keep those, but
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking back to the group sex story. So, and
Yeah,
then
it's weird. I know. Heck, what do you got?
and no,
What
no, so it's like you had two girls basically sucking off at the same
do you
time
got?
while other girls were like
Why one of their friends kept
also
playing
like
with them?
eating
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
It takes a lot of hand-eye coordination, I think, and a lot of
I wasn't doing anything. I was just
right.
sitting back, enjoying it, going, "What?" Uh, Honestly, I still can't believe it happened. I was probably only what, 22, maybe, or something around that time. I was in college, I think. Yeah, no, maybe a little later.
Yeah, that sounds like a scene out of a porn, basically. It's like
I think it'd be a good one.
yeah, like those
Yeah.
sexy scenarios,
Oh,
like,
it had one of my kinks, a couple of my kinks in it too. It was great.
what are your biggest kinks?
So I have weird kinks, um, but I guess as we all do, right? Um, it's weird. I got a couple different kinks. How am I gonna put this? I have a couple. So I like things that change.
Mhm.
I like my variety, right? But I also there's a couple staples that don't change. For some reason, high heels, and particularly, I lose my mind for girls in what is it, knee high boots for some
Okay.
fucking reason. It's the weirdest fucking thing. I don't get it. But like that'll give a girl, I hate to use the rating system, but let's say, like 10 points or whatever.
Right.
What do you call it? I mean, that gives a girl an extra 2 points. It's so
Interesting.
weird. It's like a girl's ugly to me, yet I see her in the boots and I'm like, maybe.
And your dick's like, "Oh, I don't know what to
Yeah, maybe like,
think."
right. And
Interesting.
another weird one too is I was always into girls who smoke. It's very weird.
Okay.
No smoking at all, but
All right.
I smoke weed, but I don't like smoking. Though for some reason I always found women attractive doing it. It's very weird.
Smoky cigarettes or smoky weed? Does it matter?
Mostly cigarettes.
Okay.
Weed doesn't turn me on for some reason. I
Crack?
mean, it
No.
doesn't really turn me on much anymore, but it used to be a thing. And
Okay.
it was that night too. So some of the girls had on boots. The one girl playing with the other ones was smoking originally, which was weird. It's like
Okay.
all these weird dreams,
So
fetishes
like
come
hit
through.
all these like
Yeah,
points and you're just like, ah.
right.
So these boots, do they have to be a certain material, like leather, suede, does it matter?
Usually I prefer a black leather, but there's
Mhm.
other varieties I can't like or just hate.
Okay.
Right. And the same way it kind of extends to with heels in a way too. There's some heels I'll really go bananas for and do nothing for me. Some of them. It sounds fucked up. It is fucked up, but I think it's an Oedipus thing from like when I was young, because these are all things like my mother would have done probably. Like she
Worn.
used to wear like leather jackets. She smoked a lot and get dialed up because she was single when I was younger.
Okay.
I think that might have triggered it in my developmental years. But other things I'm kind of into would be for some reason right now, dresses, like either like a nice formal dress or like a club dress. Fucking driving me nuts lately. And fucking that would be like my unfulfilled fantasy at the moment. I really want to
I was
really
wondering,
change
do you
times.
want to, is it the, like you're in the middle of the club and then you see a hot girl in a dress and you want to have sex with her, or is it like you're
I
fine
don't
with
know. I
her?
don't know if that's inspired originally from that,
Yeah.
but mm, I just think women are beautiful and it shows it off. So
Sounds like you're very into femininity in the forms, like the
yeah,
heel,
yeah,
the
yeah. Well,
dress.
I mean, that's another way of our relationship works so well too, is because Freya's more like the matriarch of the family, so to say, right? So actually, I use a Jesus quote from one of the uncanon Gospels of Thomas or something like that. But you said something like a servant can't have two masters, but a master can't have two servants, right? So we both kind of report to Freya. You know what I mean? So we don't give offense. And it's a funny time. We go by. She goes by Empress around here.
Oh,
Love
I
it.
like that.
And people don't understand for shit, but
What did your mom say when she found out?
she don't understand. But hey, if you're happy, all right.
Sounds very accepting and open-minded.
Yeah, yeah. That's most of the reactions I get. Sometimes people say, "Oh hell no, I can't get that." Of the younger generation, a couple of people, like my one friend there, loves it, brags about me doing it. Wish he could live like that, right? Um, the older they get, not so much. But then we also have had a lot of misunderstandings too from people we thought would be on the level and accepting. Um,
And what did they say?
Other members of like members of the LGBT community that are our friends too, that we thought would be more accepting of our decision
Hmm.
and our ways, not so much. They just get the wrong idea about how our life is or what we're doing or what we mean to each other, or
Hmm.
I don't know. They're coming up with crazy ideas without talking to us sometimes. It's weird, but
What's something you wish they knew and that you wish you could tell them?
just how well everything works. How well this works. Um, so when I came here, Freya's parents had just moved out. They retired and moved to Florida, and they bought the house from them as a family. Conveniently, like my house just got invaded by my drug addict sister at this time. So literally, as they're leaving, I just bounced right here since we got so close anyway. And she was on her wits' end with her daughter because Zoo can't help doing his work upstairs and stuff because he has to work,
Right.
with the kid. She's on her wits' end. Her mother was driving her nuts too because she was in the house. Usually she wasn't. She didn't really have a safe space in the house because her mother was real against her lifestyle, right? But all that changed when I got here, you know. So once we all made a decision, kind of that I'm probably going to be a more of a permanent kind of addition around here. I got introduced to their daughter, started
Okay.
helping with that, really relieving the pressure from everybody.
So,
Um,
how did her daughter react?
oh, great. So they were a little worried too that she's not even 3 yet, but there were worries that she might be a little behind. But apparently, I'm some kind of natural at kids,
Hmm.
and yeah, no, she's really sped up her development since I've been here.
Oh,
They
interesting.
all noticed it. It's
That's good.
Yeah, no, it's really really awesome. She means a lot to me too.
And how did you have that conversation with the daughter?
Um, you can't. Yeah, she's not even 3, so she can't have a
Right.
conversation with her, right?
Right.
So,
How did they
uh,
introduce you?
just that I'm Marco.
Okay.
All right, and I'm just right. We don't have a real name for me, which
Right.
is a pain in the butt, kind of. Because I'm not a stepdad. I'm not dad, right? I'm just Marco. But
Right.
I'm not an uncle either, because uncles don't kiss mommy, right?
Right. So I was just
So it's
wondering how
weird.
they.
Yeah. So I mean, sometimes she'll say "mommy Marco." It's kind of cute. She knows.
Oh,
Oh, she knows my name and stuff. It's
right.
adorable as
Right.
shit. But sometimes like she'll just call me mommy Marco or just call mommy like as a parent term or like looking for a parent and then say Marco.
Okay.
I don't know. It's
So
interesting.
you guys are like physically affectionate in front of the daughter, and
Oh yes,
yeah,
yes,
you
yep.
don't hide that. Okay.
No, and yeah, and I'm right there raising the child too. So you know, I'm there hugging, playing, teaching, changing, potty training, and whole 9 yards.
Yeah. Well, some people say it takes a village to raise a child, right? So
Yes,
yeah.
and the impact it had on her was dramatic and noticeable and instant. And I did some research too because I'm interested in psychology and stuff.
Hmm.
And they say because they tried all those big initiatives years ago um, for early education, right? And it wasn't really panning out, so they wanted to try to go earlier, see what could be done. And they did studies. So young kids, right? It's a sex podcast. We're talking about kids. I guess that makes sense. What do you call it? So they did a study that kids that excel tend to have, well, they tend to come from an educated family, but it's because they hear a bunch of words. So an educated family will say by the time a child is 3 or 4, I believe, 44 million words. And a household in poverty would a child will only hear 11 million.
Oh,
So
wow.
about 4 times less, right? So just me being around and talking made a huge difference.
Right. So she's exposed to more words, can help
More
in the
words.
development.
And I just have a natural way of like describing things too for her. So
Well, that's good. So it sounds like it's a positive impact.
yeah, it's what
Yeah.
everyone knows. It's just if everyone could just see the super positive impact for everyone involved, like it's amazing, right?
Okay.
If it works and fits so well, um, it's a shame. Hopefully, eventually, her parents will come around and be more understanding, but we'll see.
Okay. So that's what you would want to tell people, that it's really positive for everybody involved. It's not,
It's amazing how positive it is for everyone involved.
yeah.
Really.
Well, that sounds,
So I always
yeah.
wanted to see those studies too. Like they have studies of like a single parent versus two parents. What about a third parent?
Right. No, that's interesting. That's probably something that they're going to have to add in and
Why not?
make it scientific. I mean, now relationships and dynamics, I think, are shifting. You
Yeah,
know,
no, it's becoming more and more normal. Actually, I was kind of joking a couple years ago. It's like almost hard to find a relationship that isn't open or just someone just fucking around nowadays or looking for a commitment. Like the real dating scene was like a disaster these days.
yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's true. I've heard a lot of problems happen even in monogamous relationships. So
Oh, monogamous are the worst. It's where all the problems start.
I wonder why that is. I mean, and it's interesting because you considered yourself monogamous, but you were in two polyamorous kind of relationships.
Right.
So have you ever, because we were talking about experimental things and we were talking about sex toys, have you, done anything like other experimental things? Like, have you done anal sex or had anal sex?
Uh, well, yes, I've had plenty of anal sex. One of the weirder places I've had sex was I used to own a bar,
Hmm.
so I've had sex on top of the bar before. That was anal. That was great.
Okay. You had
Uh,
anal sex in the bar. Was it after hours?
yeah, after I closed up the place.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with who? Was it somebody you were dating?
Remember why I said I met that girl with the loves blowjobs and anal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she genuinely preferred anal sex over vaginal
Oh my
sex.
God, she's an advocate. Like her eyes roll back and she's ready to start writing letters to the governor being like everyone should do it. Like
Oh,
yeah,
she's an
she's a
anal.
real enthusiast.
Wow, that's very interesting. I mean,
Mm.
yeah.
And she's very submissive, a cock worshiper, a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Okay. So, yeah, and okay, so with the anal sex too, do you
Mhm.
like with her advocacy, like usually people use lube, right? It's
Well, so she was such a little cock worshiper that it'd be everything would be so salivated out and wet that we didn't need it, right?
okay.
That was with her, but yeah, normally some kind of lube is a good idea.
Okay.
Me and Freya only done it twice. Once she was drunk, had no problem and loved it, and then when she wasn't drunk, hated it because she was too tense,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And we haven't really fucked around. We have a giant list of things to get around to, but you know what I mean? Like we have a big list of like what we want to do, but we
What's
just
on the list?
we just get distracted by the basics. Um, let's see, what do we have on the list? We did want to have some more fun in public at some point, so we were talking about doing maybe dresses in like a dressing room or something. We're gonna do some more role playing because we don't often do that role play of mine. That's a rarer one, but we do it sometimes.
What are the scenes that you've
Hmm?
done? The scene, like
Oh,
the
oh,
role playing scene.
different scenes. We've had some alpha. Oh, a recent great one was what do you call it? She just got these awesome new thick platform boots, kind of.
Hmm.
I had a real. Oh, and I made her get a leather skirt too. For some reason, leather skirts are getting me right now. And then she had like she looked like a little punk. I also love dyed hair. Freya has purple hair. It's great,
Okay.
which fades to a perfect blue too.
Okay.
Her hairstylist is amazing. But yeah, no. So, oh, where was I going with this again?
I know you were just imagining the scene. You're like, oh,
Yeah, I was
you're
distracted.
like,
It
sorry.
happens all the time. No, that's the problem. We get distracted and we just regular fuck. And we don't.
Right? That's what happens. I think like when people come up with this like intricate scene and then you're like, well, or we could just like have regular sex, that's good too.
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
that's good too.
right. It's fun both ways, But yeah, it's like we don't always need the spice. That's why there's the backlog, we're still more than half for each other,
Right, right. I mean,
So
maybe in the future when things start to get
maybe, but we're again so well open and stuff. It shouldn't be an issue, I don't think so.
okay. So
Yeah,
that's
well,
I think the craziest place that you had sex was in the bar on
it's
the
either the
ledge,
bar, the bathroom.
right? The foursome.
There's also the cabin I know of the cruise liner. when I was a very young man, around 16, 17, I went on a cruise,
Hmm.
and the captain's daughter were Greek twins, my age, and they were very nice. Um, I don't think it was actually the captain's quarter. I think his family had a separate quarters, but it was very nice too. Way better than my room. And I don't know. That might be one of the weirder places too. But
So
yeah.
on a ship with the captain's daughter.
Oh, and a Starbucks bathroom was kind of weird too. But
Hmm.
I don't know which one's the weirdest. Which one sounds
Yeah,
the
I
worst?
mean, I don't think there's anything weird. It's kind of like wild and crazy places outside the bedroom.
Right. I mean, plenty of in the car somewhere. Actually, not plenty of, but more recently. But
Okay, in the back seat.
front seat.
Okay, how would that work?
I'm over the middle console.
Okay, okay. No, that's, I think it's important.
There's a will, there's a way.
Right, right.
Right.
Sometimes you just have to have sex and it's like you just need to have
Yeah.
sex,
Right.
right?
It's the best.